Welcome to Your Yes Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, energetic leadership guide, psychic medium, and somatic coach for ambitious leaders who know their gifts are real and who want to stand fully in them. Here, you'll learn how to trust your intuition, embody your vision, and step into the freedom you've been craving, all without chasing more certifications or carrying stuff that does not belong to you. Every week, I'll share powerful practices and conversations with thought leaders and changemakers that help you transform your vision into embodied confidence, claim your gifts without apology, and lead with both clarity and freedom. Because your gifts aren't cute, they're powerful, they're real, and they're needed. Start today by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit. It's the exact tool I use to track what's fueling me and what's draining me. It will help you discern between that hit of achievement and true joy so that you can lead with more clarity and impact. This is your space to stop proving, start embodying, and live fully in your gifts. Welcome to Your Yes Filled Life. Hello, and welcome to Your Yes Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Today on the podcast, we're going behind the scenes into a real client experience that I think you're going to relate to a lot. And I'm going to share with you two client case studies, and both of them have to do with this theme of why you can know exactly what to do and not do it. And it's not that they're willful, and it's not that you're willful if you know exactly what to do and don't do it, because our nervous systems are always communicating with our bodies and with our minds to tell us what's safe. And if our nervous system signals something as unsafe, no matter how much we try to think our way through it, it won't work. We can't mindset our way through these types of things. It requires us to get into the body, into the nervous system, and process somatically so that we can relieve the beliefs that may be holding us back, that are stuck in our subconscious, that we might not even know are there. So in these two case studies today, these are two very different types of clients, but their stories are interestingly similar in how this manifests. Okay. So the first client that I'm going to talk about today is a longtime client. We worked together for more than 3 years, and I love her. I have so much respect for her and for the work that she does. And I am impressed by her in so many ways. One of the things that we've been working on recently is dialing in a specific offer for her to share, something that she can rinse and repeat so that she can serve her specific clients, because they need this offer to be a kind of rinse and repeat offer. They need to have access to it every 6 to 12 weeks because she offers a specific kind of healing. And we have kind of played around with the offer for a while, and recently it just all came together. It came together in the timeline that she wanted it, that felt really good, which also meets market standards. It also correlates with what her clients have been asking her for. She's excited about it. It feels like an easy lift. It's a win-win-win. So as we dialed in the offer and we were talking about things, I was asking her what method she wanted to use to get this offer in front of the right people. Meaning, how is she going to bring in new clients? How is she going to get people's eyes on this offer? And we talked about it a little bit. And I thought, I'm just going to share the 5 ways you can bring in new clients. Because sometimes when you make a really conscious choice and you're like, I definitely want this one and not this one, then it feels different. And so I shared the 5 ways that we can bring in clients. And by the way, this goes across industries. These are the 5 levers you can pull to get yourself in front of new eyes and bring in new clients. The first way is cold outreach. That is showing up in somebody's DMs or sending emails that are unsolicited, and you can tell a little bit in how I'm saying that, my own personal thoughts on this one. Cold outreach definitely works. Lots of people do it and lots of people have great success. So cold outreach is one. Affiliate marketing is another one. And this is where you have other people share your offer with their audiences, and then they sell it for you, and you give them a percentage of the profits. Affiliate marketing is very, very effective and can be very lucrative. If you are in the personal development space and you've heard of people like Jenna Kutcher or Amy Porterfield, they are big into affiliate marketing and they often share each other's offers, and that's what's happening. So the first two ways, cold outreach, affiliate marketing. Then we have paid ads. And so you could do like a Google ad, you could advertise in a local newspaper or a local magazine, you could advertise on Meta. All of that would be considered paid ads. The next way we have is to get in front of other people's audiences. This would mean that you are a speaker or a guest teacher in people's containers. You guest on podcasts, you write media articles, or maybe you even guest teach inside people's programs. And then the fifth way is through content. And that means you create content that is compelling and engaging in a way that you try to bring in interest. And this might be that you have a Substack or that you post on social media or you email market, meaning you have an email list and you talk to your email list about what it is that you offer. It could also mean that you're on Pinterest. So, any way that you're creating content, YouTube would count. Creating content is one. So, again, really quick review, we've got the cold outreach, affiliate marketing, paid ads, getting in front of people's audiences, or content creation. And it's those five. There's 101 different variations of those five, but those are the 5 ways we can bring in new clients. So when my client and I talked about this in relationship to her offer, she chose as her primary method of bringing in new clients content. And my client does not currently have a podcast and she doesn't currently have a blog. And so, what we're going to do for an easy lift this go around is to do content marketing using her social media accounts and her social media platforms. So, I'm telling you this because she made the very conscious decision that she wants to create content on social media. So, we created her marketing plan. We created her social media plan. And while we were together, she made a few really successful posts that like 10x'd anything else that she had done earlier in terms of engagement and in terms of people expressing interest in her programs. She was so excited. And then there was a little bit of a gap between doing that work and the next time we met. And I noticed that there was a decline in the amount she was posting. She was like posting every day, then posting every 2 days. Then there would be like a 5-day gap. And then I hadn't seen anything from her in a while. And so when we logged on together, I asked her if posting was still going well. And she said, yes, it's great. Well, one of the things that we had talked about is she made the choice that she wanted to be the face of her brand, which means if you're the face of your brand, you have to show your face in your social media marketing. Not every brand has a face as their brand, but if it's a personal brand, a lot of times it does have a face. And we got into it and we're really talking and feeling into and working through the session around what had happened between being able to post really freely and feeling confident and feeling excited to not really posting. And then the next thing that she posted was a flyer. And the flyer, I mean, it was cute, but it is not magnetic. And it might even be hard for people to read. And it didn't really reflect anything to do with her offer. And so it doesn't really correlate for people. And so I was asking her about that. And I know the whole time, this is not about the flyer. This is not about the social media posting. This is about something else. And so we talked for a little longer. And finally, I asked her, what is it you're mad at right now? Because I could track there was anger in her system. She was really upset about something, but she wasn't letting herself feel it. And her affect was pleasant and smiling, but I could just feel it under the surface. And she said, I'm mad because I'm scared I can't do this. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so relatable. I know that I have absolutely felt the same way. And when we really got into the somatics of it and we processed through the subconscious beliefs, she had a subconscious belief that if she was really successful in this business, it would potentially damage her most precious relationships. Because if she was successful, it would mean that she was doing all of this work instead of spending quality time with the people that she loves. And so we process that belief somatically. And in the process, she was able to change her perspective enough to realize she didn't have to host those events on specific days. She could host them on any day she wanted so that she could do her business when she wanted and still show up for the relationships that are the most important to her. And that was the shift. But it felt like a miracle to her in the moment because it moved the needle when we got to the bottom line, which is she feared success would cost her her relationships. Okay, so that's client number one. Client number two is a brand new client. We met for the first time this week. She was a referral from another client, and she is lovely. She's brilliant, very successful, highly educated, and she is in the healthcare space. Not only is she in the healthcare space as a provider, but she also has bought the practice. And so she owns the practice in addition to practicing in the practice. And she came to me not for business, but she came to me because she was feeling low energy, a lot of anxiety, and low grade nausea all the time. And my client who referred her said, I think my coach Brenda would probably say that there's something in your body somatically going on here to cause this. And so that's kind of how we started our work together because that is something I would say. I would say there's more going on here. It's not about the thing. It's never about the thing, by the way. It's never about the thing. So we got into it and we were talking and come to find out that my client's family has been going through something very challenging with her children. And her children have required an enormous amount of attention and time to shepherd them through this difficult time in their family. And I'm being very careful with both of these clients. You probably notice it. I'm not giving away any identifying information about them, their businesses, or their families. And sometimes I do give away identifying information, but in this case, it feels much better to not because of the nature of what we're talking about. And so when we got into the session for her, for this client that is successful owner of a practice in the healthcare spaces, we realized that her subconscious belief was she needed to stay completely present and hyper vigilant to maintain her family's safety. And when she realized that, as soon as she said it, it started to unwind a little bit in her system. And then that unwinding led to some anger. And when we were able to release the anger somatically, all of a sudden it cleared up and the heaviness was gone. The low grade nausea was gone. The anxiety was gone. The low energy was gone. She said at the end of our session that she just felt lighter, that she felt happier, and that she remembered the only thing her family really needs her to do is to love them. And she's right. Now, in both of these cases, they're two totally different contexts with the same content. And the content is really about how can I be the fullest version of me and maintain my relationships? So there's an underlying fear, a subconscious fear that by being your full self, by experiencing joy, by doing the things you want to do, that it will cost you your relationship. And this is very common. It's especially common for people that have deep empathy and compassion, that have a high level of intuition. It's also something that comes up for people with ADHD or empaths. And the beautiful thing is we can process this somatically. Now, here's a really important distinction. If we're dealing with codependence, then I would refer you to a therapist because codependence would be this type of pattern that it goes across all relationships. And the reason that I know we can process this somatically, which is my scope of practice, is because if we can get it to move in one relationship, it will move in more relationships. And most often, the people that come in to work with me are very successful and they have very healthy boundaries in most areas of their life. They just have one that kind of flies under the radar as a little bit of a blind spot where they don't realize that they are unintentionally holding themselves back from something because of this specific relationship. And sometimes they do consciously realize they're holding themselves back from this, but it's hard to name because the fear is if I name that I'm scared of being successful because then I might damage the relationship with my husband or my kid or whatever, then a lot of times the fear is somebody's going to judge the husband or the kid or judge you for not being as attentive. But here's the thing, that is something that has been socialized into us, especially as women. But some men too are socialized this way where we have to be the caretakers, the caregivers. We have to hold the emotional responsibility. We have to manage the emotional tone of the room. And it's a lot to carry. And if we're carrying everyone's emotions, it becomes really difficult for us to find ourselves and to evolve as completely as we want to. So here's the thing, you can be in any relationship that you want to be in and expand and evolve. And when you do, you'll find yourself moving forward on the things that you know what to do. Because the truth is, you do probably know exactly what to do. And sometimes there's something that stops you. So I decided, remember last week I told you about a masterclass? Well, I changed it. I've changed it now. It's not stop apologizing for your next level because quite honestly, nobody registered for it, which told me, oh, I missed the mark here. So I went back to the drawing board. And then that's where this one is coming from is I went back to the drawing board and I was really reflective about what is it that people come to me for? And it's this. When you know what to do, but something stops you. And maybe you don't know exactly what to do, but the point is you sort of do and you're just not doing it. So, the new masterclass is called When You Know Exactly What to Do, but Something Stops You. And you can register at brendawinkle.com/next level. Same URL as last week because why not? And I want to ask you if you knew that you could keep everyone in your life who you want to have in your life, and you could expand into the fullest, most radiant version of you, what would you do? Would you travel more? Would you start the business? Would you write a book? What would you do? Invitation to DM me on Instagram and tell me, what would you do if you knew you could expand into your next level and maintain all your relationships? What would you do? I want to know. Thank you so much for listening. I am traveling at the time that you are going to get this episode, or I guess I'm going to be preparing to travel. I'm headed to Madison, Wisconsin for a few days to just support my family as my mom has a surgery. So if you are inclined to send some well wishes and some good vibes, that would be very welcome and appreciated. And if you're an energy healer and you want to send a little energy her way, that would also be lovely. And I just have to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for listening to the podcast. It means a lot. I don't take it for granted. And I don't take you for granted. I believe in you. And I believe you don't have to keep delaying the thing you want to do. I believe you can maintain the relationships that are important to you and evolve exactly how it feels really good to you. Bye for now. Until next time.